This is rental car number 87, and today I'm driving the 2018 Nissan Altima 2.5 SL. Now, 2.5 refers to the engine. This is a 2.5 liter four-cylinder engine, and SL is really the trim level. SL is a mid-level trim level, which is actually a good fit because the Altima is a mid-level Nissan sedan. Right? I mean, their lineup is Versa at the low end, then Sentra, then Altima kind of in the middle. Then you have Maxima, and then at the top, I think, is probably the new Nissan Leaf. I mention all this just as a frame of reference, right? This is a mid-level sedan, MSRPs for about $29,000, so that's kind of where we should place our expectations moving forward. So with that in mind, let's reach down and pop open the hood and take a look at what's underneath. So the Altima is a front-wheel drive sedan. Comes with a 2.5 liter 16 valve four-cylinder engine. It's automatic with a continuously variable transmission and kicks out about 179 horsepower, which is a little bit on the low end, but because you don't get that much power, you get some pretty good gas mileage. You're going to get 27 miles per gallon in the city, 38 on the highway. It's pretty impressive on an 18-gallon fuel tank, and I just want to point out that is on the driver's side. So the more of these rental cars I drive, the more I realize that specific stats, like specific specs, like horsepower, for example, really don't tell you that much about a car. This one has 179 horsepower, which in my opinion is pretty low. I've been driving some things in the 300s lately, but this one's really peppy. The acceleration is smooth and nice. I had no trouble driving this one at all. I was able to pass cars going down these two-lane roads with no problem. And actually, driving the Altima is pretty enjoyable. It really does perform really nicely. So that's my short take on performance. Let's jump inside the vehicle so we can take a look at what kind of features Nissan is offering with the 2018 Altima. So first off, let's talk key fobs. This is the same one you get on all the Nissans and all the Infinitis, actually. It's kind of an oval shape. You get 5 buttons on the front, nothing on the back. My favorite feature is that circular button you see on the top. That's remote start. That's a lifesaver in the winter. Anyway, this is a good key fob. It's a little bit light for my taste, but it fits in your pocket nicely and works well. And because you don't get a physical key, that means you get a push button start. It's located on the dash to the right of the steering wheel. It's this small circular button, and I like that it kind of illuminates a soft red color when the car is on. And the steering wheel is a nice circular shape. It's wrapped in soft leather and has a number of buttons on it. Let's start on the left-hand side. You'll see at the bottom, those are your volume controls, and then you get a number of buttons to interact with the digital display in the gauge cluster, cruise controls and phone buttons on the right, and then up above, I think you get a fairly attractive gauge cluster with 2 big dials and then a color digital display right in the center. Nissan really does do a nice job with their screens. I mean, everything is easy to view, the fonts are nice big sizes, and there's lots of screens that you can cycle through to see all kinds of information about the vehicle. And then to the left of the steering wheel, you get a number of controls. Your window and door locks are right here. These are made out of really durable feeling plastic. Mirror controls, you see right there, that circular dial. Door locks right there. The plus and minus button you see at the top on the dash, that adjusts the lights and the gauge cluster along with your trip reset button. Then you have your trunk release, your button to turn on and off traction control, the button to turn on and off the heated steering wheel. And then down below you have your gas cap and hood releases, and then at the very bottom, I'm playing with it right now, but you get your push pedal parking brake. And since I got the door open, I just want to point out there's actually a light down here. I'm not sure I've ever seen this before, but it's a nice safety feature to have, especially when you open your doors up at night. And since we're talking about safety, let's talk about side view mirrors. These are a standard size, but they do come with blindside detection. Now, Nissan does it a little bit differently than the other auto manufacturers. The light for the blindside detection is actually right here, kind of in the corner of the window where the mirror meets the car. Now, when someone is in your blind spot, this light is going to light up orange. And when someone is in your blind spot and you turn on your turn signal, well, it's going to flash at you, just to give you a little extra warning that you're about to have an accident. All right, let's shift gears away from safety and look up top on the roof. You get a nice size sunglass holder, 2 lights to illuminate the cabin, standard rear view mirror. This has your programmable garage door opener buttons on here. And you also get a compass, which I kind of like. It's in the upper left-hand corner with a button to turn that on or off. Looking a little bit down towards the dash, you'll see a nice size speaker with the Bose Premium Sound logo right on it. And then below there is really where we get the bulk of your controls, right? This is where you're going to find your center display. It's a nice size, but it is not a touchscreen, so you will have to use all those buttons you see up on the dash to control everything. This is pretty good, right? It does have Bluetooth connectivity, so you can connect your cell phone. I guess my only complaint is that it feels slightly out of date. There's also no apps or anything loaded on this car, so you won't have access to Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. You do, however, get a backup camera with some pretty decent resolution, so, that's another nice safety feature to have. And below there, your climate controls. These work great, right? Large dials to adjust the temperature, big buttons to control the fan, and then you have a nice digital display to show you exactly what temperature the car is set at. I guess my only complaint here, and it's pretty minor, but when you spin these dials, they do feel a little bit cheap. There's not a satisfying click to it, and they do feel like they slip just a little bit. And then below there, behind the gear shift, you get a small storage cutout area with a USB port, auxiliary jack, and a power port right here, although you will need an adapter. This is a great place to store your cell phone, and it's pretty convenient because you have all those power ports right there. And then the gear shift, it does feel a little bit clunky, but works fine. No sport shift capability, but that final gear, DS, allows you to shift into sport mode. Next to there are two decent-sized cup holders. These work great. And then behind there, you do get your switches to control the heated seats. And then moving even farther back, you have a center armrest with some interesting storage areas, right? There's two switches that you can hit to lift this up. The first one gets you to a shelf. The next one opens up the main storage area. Nothing exciting down there, except there is one extra power port right there at the bottom. And then the glove box, which is surprisingly nice, right? You got a really deep, cavernous storage area, and then two shelves, one built into the door, and then kind of one up above. Let me show you by throwing this piece of paper up there. Up above to help you, organize all your paperwork in here pretty effectively. All right, so that's all the major highlights from the front seat. Let's shift gears by taking a look at the back seat to see what kind of amenities your passenger is going to be able to take advantage of. First off, legroom, plenty back here. I'm 6 feet tall. I got about 8 inches of room between my knee and the front seat. That's with that driver's seat pushed back a really good distance. There's also dedicated vents on the back of the center armrest for the front seat passengers. And then there's also a fold-down, collapsible center armrest with two cup holders built in. So all that's great. What's not so great is the car seat anchors. These are buried very, very deep, so they're going to be difficult to get access to if you have small kids like I do and are trying to install a car seat back here. All right, so not a lot in the back seat to talk about, but let's close things out by taking a look at the trunk space. So this is a pretty good size. You do see that the wheel wells do infringe on the space a little bit, so you don't get that perfect rectangular shape that you get with the bigger sedans. But you do get a spare tire that's buried underneath the floor, pretty easy to get access to. And I like that the tools are kind of built into the car itself. That's always convenient. And then there are these two small tabs to pull on. They're made out of fabric. Really, all you got to do is give it a gentle tug. And this will release the back seats so that you can fold them down and take advantage of all the space in the back of the vehicle. This is pretty easy. I was able to do it one-handed while holding a camera and had no problems at all. And then as you can see, you'll be able to load some larger items into the vehicle, although that cutout to get to the back seat it's pretty small. All right, so that's all the major highlights of the 2018 Nissan Altima. I was lucky enough to drive this one for 3 days, put I think over 350 miles on it, so I think I had enough time behind the vehicle to give you a recommendation. And that's really what you should be asking me for, right? Would I recommend this car to you? Yes or no? Yes, I would recommend it, but it's not an enthusiastic yes, right? Theirs is a nice vehicle. Nissan calls it a functional mid-size four-door sedan. That's a great description. It's functional, right? There's nothing wrong with this vehicle. Drives well, has some decent screens. It's just not very exciting. So if you're looking for something just to get you from A to B, this is your thing, right? The Altima's going to do that for you. If you're looking for something with a little bit of excitement and thrills, maybe something with the latest tech features, I think you should go someplace else. Anyway, that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you join me next time when I rent my 88th rental car. I'll see you then.